Azerbaijan is one of the few former Soviet republics that has achieved real independence from Moscow, both in its domestic and foreign policy.
I can say with confidence that the blame for the deaths of Azerbaijani citizens in this disaster lies with the Russian Federation.
Unlike Belarus under Lukashenko, fully sold out,
and now I will show you where the attack on Belarus was being prepared from. If a preemptive strike hadn't been carried out on the four positions, I'll show the map now 6 hours before the operation, things would have been different.
Ilham Aliyev continued the work of his father Haydar, and today Baku, without regard for the opinions or position of the Kremlin, is restoring its territorial integrity by force, while simultaneously humiliating the Russian army's peacekeeping contingent.
You're speaking Russian. Is that some kind of principled stance?
My family is principled. We live in Azerbaijan and our language is Azerbaijani. How was the Azerbaijani army formed? What is the secret of victory in the Karabakh War? And after the USSR collapsed, whom does this Caucasian nation rely on and trust? This and more coming up in Arsenal. The National Army of Independent Azerbaijan was formed in the midst of the ongoing war in Karabakh. Before the USSR collapsed, the Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh had entered an open phase. It was the first ethno-political conflict in the USSR. In 1987, discontent among Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh, the majority grew. Armenia, Azerbaijan and Karabakh saw rallies and protests. In February 1988, the first blood was shed. After that, mutual oppression, pogroms, and the mass exodus of Armenians from Azerbaijan and Azerbaijanis from Armenia began. The trigger for the start of full-scale hostilities was the collapse of the Soviet Union and the complete independence of the two warring states. The results of the First Karabakh War did not satisfy Baku. To resolve the conflict, the Minsk Group was created, including representatives from 11 countries. On the battlefield, the initiative was in Yerevan's hands. By 1994, Armenian forces had taken control of about 20% of Azerbaijan's territory, including areas beyond Nagorno-Karabakh, Lakin, Kelbajar, Agdam, Fizuli, Jabrail, Gubadli, and Zangilan. Through the efforts of the Minsk colleagues, a protocol was signed in Bishkek with agreements on a ceasefire between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and essentially the separatist Nagorno-Karabakh. During the hostilities from 1988 to 1994, 30,000 people were killed in the region. Over 1 million became refugees or internally displaced. Notably, Azerbaijani authorities label as enemies the pro-Russian authorities of Armenia, who ran affairs in Yerevan for 30 years until Nikol Pashinyan came to power.
Armenia is in fact a source of threat to the region, since for almost 30 years the country was governed by adherents of a fascist ideology. Our country borders a fascist state, and the danger of fascism has not disappeared. It will be eliminated either by the Armenian leadership or by us.
When it came to confronting Yerevan, Baku could not count on Moscow. And while the Central Asian republics began drifting toward China, Azerbaijan grew closer to Turkey. It was Ankara that became Baku's main political, military and economic ally.
The president of Azerbaijan, Mr. Ilham Aliyev, briefly expressed his attitude toward the Azerbaijani army. He said, "The Azerbaijani army will receive everything it needs." By putting into practice what the Supreme Commander-in-Chief said, the Azerbaijani army underwent further development in the period subsequent to the war as a direct consequence of these actions. The Shusha Declaration was drawn up. The Supreme Commander-in-Chief set the task for the Azerbaijani army to develop according to the Turkish model.
Militarily, Azerbaijan, like other ex-USSR countries, has a Soviet-Russian arsenal. Main battle tanks are the T-72 and T-90. There are 500 units, same for APCs and IFVs, hundreds of Soviet BMP-2s, BTR-70s, Russian BTR-82s, BMP-3s. Azerbaijan's air force has dozens of Soviet jets, Su-25, MiG-29, MiG-25, Su-24. Interestingly, after the start of the full-scale war in Ukraine and its triumph in Karabakh, Baku began to strengthen its position in the air. In February 2024, Azerbaijan ordered 24 JF-17C fighter jets from Pakistan with the option to purchase 50 more. Given the relatively small size of the army, about 65,000 soldiers, the armed forces are focusing on technology and modern weaponry. In this regard, the Azerbaijanis are assisted by one of the strongest armies in the world, the Turkish army. From Ankara, Baku has purchased dozens of 300 and Tontrel-G 230 multiple launch rocket systems, as well as 500 Cobra and Cobra II armored reconnaissance vehicles. In addition to Turkey, Azerbaijan also closely cooperates with Israel in advanced and sophisticated unmanned aerial technologies. This is because, apart from the hundreds of Erdogan's Bayraktars that were actively and extensively used in the war in Karabakh, Azerbaijan additionally possesses and operates dozens of Israeli heavy attack drones, including the Hermes 450 as well as the Hermes 900, which are currently and operationally in service. Strike and reconnaissance drones became one of the key factors that ensured the success of the Azerbaijani army on the Karabakh battlefield. During the victorious Second Karabakh War for Baku in 2020, followed by the operation to eliminate the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic in 2023, Turkey provided active political and military support equipment, reconnaissance and strike drones. A number of Western media outlets claimed that with Turkey's assistance, Syrian mercenaries from pro-Turkish armed groups were sent to Karabakh directly before the start of hostilities. Neither the pro-Russian authorities of Nagorno-Karabakh nor the Kremlin's peacekeepers were able to prevent the triumph of Aliyev, who was supported by Erdogan. Azerbaijan achieved an unequivocal victory in the conflict over Armenia, which was cowardly abandoned to its fate by Russia. All the Kremlin could muster the courage to do was to unleash all its fury on its own allies.
The youth of Armenia must understand that Pashinyan is a traitor to the Armenian people.
Meanwhile, while Kremlin propagandists are attacking Prime Minister Pashinyan from every available platform, the president of Azerbaijan is building relations with the leader of Armenia. And the Prime Minister of Armenia, following the outcome of the Karabakh War, is publicly quarreling with the Kremlin, sowing discord within Putin's favorite project, the CSTO.
Over the past 2 years, Armenia, a member of the CSTO in the South Caucasus region, has consistently been subjected to aggression by Azerbaijan on at least 3 separate occasions. It is discouraging that Armenia's membership in the CSTO did not deter Azerbaijan from aggressive actions.
A modern army, economic potential, and a strong ally in the form of Turkey have made Azerbaijan a truly formidable opponent for the Kremlin. After all, while propagandists were criticizing Pashinyan, only praise was directed at Aliyev.
They tried to provoke a quarrel with Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, which today is our strategic partner, Azerbaijan, which never lets us down in any way or anywhere. And the president of Azerbaijan, Ilham Haydarovich Aliyev, is the most reliable.
While Lukashenko and the president of Kazakhstan, Tokayev, allow Putin to deploy troops on the territory of their states, Azerbaijan clearly defines its boundaries and, most importantly, calls things by their proper names. This was the case with the Azerbaijani civilian airplane that Russian military forces shot down over Chechnya in December 2024.
The attempts by Russian state agencies to cover up this incident and insist on absurd versions leave us not only surprised and regretful, but also justifiably outraged. We demand justice, we demand that those responsible be punished, we demand complete transparency.
And the same thing happened when Russian negotiators tried to manipulate the topic of the war in Ukraine by once again comparing it to Karabakh.
It's astonishing that Medinsky doesn't know that Karabakh has never been a disputed territory. We would like to remind everyone that Karabakh is the ancestral land of Azerbaijan. Unfortunately, the aide to the president of Russia is comparing the Russia-Ukraine war to the situation in Karabakh. such a comparison is inappropriate, since Azerbaijan has never violated the territorial integrity of any country and has never waged an aggressive war against any country.
That's all for now. Don't forget to write in the comments which types of weapons you'd like to learn more about. Like this video and, of course, subscribe to our Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.